Hi, I'm the Moss Man, and we have hit 500 subscribers. So what that means is we're doing another subscriber Q&A. Unfortunately, this time we don't have as many comments in or questions in, but that is a-okay because I have asked my friends to submit some extra questions. Alright, so let's start with the viewer submitted comments. We got some nice drinks, celebratory drinks. In case YouTube cares about this, it's not alcohol, it's not beer, they're just pops. So, comment from SD Music says, "Can you make some Lego moss? Lego plants." I can in fact do that. If you're looking for sets, Lego has a few actually. They have a Lego bonsai set and a Birds of Paradise set, and then I think they have a couple bouquet sets. So if you're interested in Lego plant sets, those exist. But to answer your question, yes. Spaghetti Man 5748 asks, what is the total number of plants you have had and used to have? And then in brackets, we've got ones that have died. So first I'm going to have to explain to you the criteria, because believe it or not, there is some need for specification on what I count as like one plant. Okay, so for example, a terrarium, that's one plant. Just for the sake of remembering the ones from the past and the ones I have now, one terrarium is one plant. And this example here with the pothos is technically there's 9 different cuttings in this one pot, but I'm counting it as one plant. Basically, whatever's in one pot is one plant, and whatever's in one terrarium is one plant. Keeping that all in mind, I currently have 40 plants. Now that's less than I expected, actually. I have had a total of 62. Only about 11 have died, and the other 11 I've given away. For example, the cuttings I grew off of the aloe plant, those all got given away. The Venus flytrap I did in a video, that was a kind of mine for a time, and then I had to give it back to its owner. And there's other little things like that. I often buy a plant and then decide that it would be better in somebody else's hands, or somebody else really wants it and I don't have space for it anymore, that kind of thing. So I've given away 11 plants, and I've unfortunately killed about 11 plants. Paul's Bizarre World asks, have you ever thought of raising fish? What are your thoughts on fish keeping? To my left currently, your right, there is a fish tank. In this fish tank, I have right now growing only plants. Originally, when I set it up, the plan was to have a betta fish in there, or beta fish, depending on how you want to say it. But I was planning on having a betta fish in there. I have 2 nerite snails in there. Nothing else. There's a lot of tiny snails, like little pests that aren't supposed to be there. But the problem is, I was hoping that I could get the tank to balance out, so I could get it so it's not growing any more algae. And well, I mean, you can never completely remove algae, but the problem is, in that time I have realized how much work it would be, because you're supposed to do like weekly water changes to keep the nitrate levels low in your tank. I have not done a proper water change on this tank in a long time, probably over a year since I've done a proper water change. I don't feel good enough at maintaining the fish tank that I would feel good about keeping a fish in it. Maybe it'll change in the future. Maybe I will be dedicated enough to change the water properly and clean the tank properly. But for now, it's just going to grow aquatic plants. So now we're going to switch to another scene where you'll see what Mossman could look like if I had a proper like DSLR camera instead of my phone. So yeah, let's take a look at that. George Olin asks, what's the ratio of moss to energy drink that I'm going to have to consume? And Levion responds with, WTF. So George, how much moss are you going to have to drink? Our camera person is telling us George needs to be in more.
Yes.
Okay, answer that
Is this good now? Probably a decent amount of moss, but I'm not sure yet what the exact ratio will be.
Perfect. All right. I don't know. It's all improv anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Okay.
Are we good now? Are we good now, camera first?
Is this good?
Are we rolling?
Moss man energy.
All right. So we have to explain some context for this. Context for this is I made a video which is on fertilizers where
Yeah, that'll be here.
Okay.
That'll be here.
Okay, it'll be
Well,
there.
maybe it's on the side, like on the side bar.
The video will be in the card, which is up here, up there. Anyways, that was a lot of. So I made a video where I included Mossman Energy. That video was on fertilizers, and then for my 100 subscriber Q&A, George here asked when we're getting Mossman Energy.
I was told.
Yeah, George was told that when we hit 500 subscribers, he was gonna drink Mossman Energy. Now, do you want to explain what that is?
So Mossman Energy is going to be Monster, 2 cans of Monster, a can of Nos mixed together with moss. Yeah, Nos.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I have the sensitivity way too high, so you might have to re-record all of this. I think that's decent.
Yeah, do we need a bit more?
It's about 50% moss.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but I like this moss.
You're gonna drink this too, right, Chantal?
Yep. You just agreed.
Yep. With it.
Yep.
No, what? Put the lid on.
Fine.
God, no.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at that go. More moss? It's just disappeared. Just look at
Oh,
it.
it's so chunky. It's not even remotely cut up.
Oh yeah.
What's this one for ice?
There is one for ice.
It's so green. Because we're gonna take a sip and we're just gonna get a mouthful of moss.
Well,
That's the entire. Like I said, when I was like, it's half moss, and you were like, no, we need to put more in.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So we're recording now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Cheers, George.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Wait.
All right.
Okay, cheers again.
Cheers.
All right.
Down it goes. Oh. Yeah.
Tastes-
That's a little dirty, but
Tastes like it
It's
smells.
delicious and nutritious.
Some nutrients are in there. You, get over here.
Oh yeah.
No,
No.
you have to. You said you would. You have to.
Yep. You got to try it.
I actually, when you only poured 2 cans, I was really excited. Oh, it just tastes like Monster.
Yeah, and dirt.
I don't
And-
taste dirt.
What?
I can taste dirt.
I don't
Maybe
taste
I
dirt.
drank all the sediment.
No, I
Mine
don't
still
taste
tastes
any
like dirt.
I'm okay. I didn't need
Yeah, mine doesn't taste. You're right. I drank all the sediment.
Oh, lucky.
No, not.
Yeah, this is...
Why am I still drinking it?
Oh wait, we never did answer the ratio of moss.
50%
yeah,
moss
about
to energy
50-50.
drink. Yeah,
Yeah.
about 50-50. Alright, so now let's get on to the questions submitted by my friends. The first question is from Elijah, and he asks, what is the best piece of advice I've received? I don't receive a lot of advice, believe it or not, but one principle that that's always stuck in my head is the 80-20 rule, which you may have heard, you may have not, or sometimes called Zipf's law, or let's see, what's another name for it? The Pareto principle. And basically it's that 20% of something is 80% of something else. So like in the IT field, 20% of the work will fix 80% of the bugs. And that means the remaining 80% of the work is required to fix the remaining 20% of the bugs. And it shows up in the kind of everywhere a little bit. I couldn't think of a cool piece of advice, sorry, but like the 80-20 principle is pretty cool, so I don't know, keep that in mind, I guess. And then we have a few questions from Chantel. We have, where did you get your fashion sense? What I'm wearing right now is not my favorite outfit. It's kind of threw it together pretty quickly last night. But where I get my fashion sense from, a little bit of it is like basic color theory. Some of it is, I guess, intuition. A lot of ways you can develop a fashion sense is by looking at other people's fashions and emulating the styles that you enjoy. Obviously, this is not a super modern style that I have. It's pretty, I guess you could say, classic menswear kind of vibe. And there's one channel, I can't remember the name of it. I'm gonna look it up. It's called Gentleman's Gazette. I don't remember when, but there's a point in time where I watched like loads of their videos, and they've got some good advice on men's fashion. So if you like the kind of clothing that I wear, you should check out those videos. I will probably eventually do like a specific my fashion video. Check out those guys. Favorite kind of pot. Okay, so this one, my favorite kind of pot is actually 2 pots together. So it's pretty easy. I have one right here. Okay, this one's pretty obvious to see. If you look, you'll see that there's 2 pots here. We've got the inner functional pot, and we have an outer presentation aesthetic pot. Now what happens here is basically this is the same as having like a pot with a hole in the bottom and a tray, because this plastic pot has a hole, it has a few holes, so water exits it out, and then all that excess water sits in here like a tray and doesn't spill anywhere. But the benefit of this is that you can use the easy to work with standard size plastic pots on the inside, and on the outside you can make it look nice and it functions as a pot and saucer. I don't know, that's just my personal preference. One other benefit is that the plastic pots on the inside are really flexible, so maintaining using a plastic pot still makes it really easy to repot and transfer your plants. I have a bunch more, but I mean, you get the idea. And our last question for today, which one of your plants has your heart the most? My favorite plant has to be one of the 2 plants that I first bought when I started keeping plants, and also one of the only plants that has a name, is Phineas. And the reason it's called that is because I got 2 ferns and I named them Phineas and Fern. I know, I'm a comedic genius. Phineas is a maidenhair fern, and as you may have guessed from some of my previous videos, I quite like maidenhair ferns. Currently downstairs, and yeah, I think that's right now is not the largest plant I have, probably the largest root system, but right now the largest plant I have is actually the other fern that I got at the same time. But yeah, Phineas is my favorite plant. Alright, and that has been the video. So, as with the last video, I'd like to finish with some thank yous. So I'd like to thank Dylan and Elijah for the music as usual. And of course, thank Elijah again for the microphone. Thank you, Chantel, for helping me rearrange my room into the current Moss Man setup. And thank you to George and Chantel for participating in the Moss Man Energy segment. And thank you to all 500 of you out there. I think at the time of recording it's almost 510 of you out there for subscribing and joining the ecosystem. There we go. That's it now. You're part of the Moss Man ecosystem. As always, I appreciate your comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.